May I call to order the regular board meeting of July 16, 2018, Board of Park Commissioners of the Lake Bluff Park District, Lake County, Illinois. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart. Here. Commissioner Gordon.
Here.
Commissioner McKendry.
I have some prior notice.
Commissioner Mossbarger.
Here.
Commissioner Patera. Commissioner Wallace.
Here.
President Douglas.
Here. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Yeah, so before, I know Deb and Colette will be talking during the Facilities and Programs Committee. And so Colette's not here yet, so I don't know if we can somehow adjust and adapt. We can keep it the way it is and
Well, do you want to move? Do you want to move D to F or whatever? And if Colette's not here, Deb, you can. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
Okay.
We'll delay it as long as we can.
Well, then,
but then
exactly.
We've got other stuff we got to cover.
Sounds good.
So,
So I'll make a motion for the change of swapping D for F. I'll move to approve the balance of the agenda as is.
So moved. Okay, your second. Oh,
Right.
Second, Ron, second.
okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Commissioner Mossbarger.
Yes.
Commissioner Patera.
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace.
Yes.
President Douglas.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to verbal communications. Start with-
skipping taking business.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Not intentional.
No, I'm just a little fatigued today, so.
I'm here
I
honestly
apologize.
tonight
Statement of
with
business.
with a different hat on. I'm a volunteer with the Lake Bluff 2018 Criterium. This Saturday, July 21st, downtown Lake Bluff is going to be alive with a series of bike races that are going to be conducted all day long from 8:30 in the morning until the last race goes off at about 7 o'clock at night. Some of these bike riders come from all across the country. If you've never been there, it's a really exciting event. We are looking for quite a few volunteers. We still need several dozen people to serve as race course marshals along the race course sidewalks. The race course is through 4 blocks of the downtown area, and at the various sidewalks we need to station marshals that can stop the residents when they're about to cross the street to alert them that a bicycle may be coming at a very fast rate of speed. If anyone here knows of anyone that might like to volunteer, we have a number of informational flyers in the Park District. The facilities right now, one up at the fitness desk and at the main desk downstairs. Anyone that might see this broadcast on YouTube, you can call me on my phone, 847-722-0831, or just simply Google Lake Bluff 2018 bike race, and all the information on the bike race and block party will come up. To sweeten the incentive this year for race marshals, we are offering a little contest with 3 $75 gift certificates for restaurants in downtown Lake Bluff. If we had our fill of course marshals, we'd have 65 people, so that's about 1 in 21 will be winning a $75 gift certificate. So if you're a gambling man, those are pretty good odds in today's giveaways. So if anybody knows of anyone that might be interested in serving as a race course marshal, you have a free ticket. Pass the sheet around. Thanks for your time.
Okay, well, thank you, George, and apologize for not offering a statement of visitors. Are there any other statement of visitors for non-agenda items? Being no more, we will now move on to verbal communications. So, Ron, I think
Yeah,
start on the staff side.
Yeah, I'll start off and then turn over to the other team members. So I know some commissioners have received some questions regarding our debt on the golf course, as well as President Toppenheim approached the board last week regarding, are there any concerns with our debt and default of our debt or bonds related to the golf course? before we presented in February and March, that was absolutely asked to the bond attorney. There was no issues whatsoever if the board chose, if the course was closed, that there's no issues with our bonds whatsoever. I reconfirmed that with our bond attorney, Chapman and Cutler, and there are no issues whatsoever with any of our debt if the course happens to close. So I'll be crystal clear on the record for that. Also, I spoke with Peter Murphy from IAPD, and he stated during his 10 years, 25 plus years, there's been questions regarding grants. He has not seen any golf improvement type grants via the Department of Natural Resources. Doesn't mean there's anything through the USGA or anything like that. But this has mostly happened, what he has stated, because it's a specific activity or skill, and most of the time when we've gone for grants, it's kind of combined together for a variety of things, playgrounds, and so they really encourage diverse and multiple activities and these types of things. But that doesn't mean we can't find grants or try to do things, but at least through IAPD, that was a question, that they haven't seen it. There's avenues such as the beach, where it's the Secretary of State's office, where those are things where individual committees or legislators can work through different departments and find capital grants. So that's a little bit different. And those capital grants sometimes come around once every 10 years. So I'm just giving an update. Doesn't mean we should give up on grants or anything like that, but that through the Department of Natural Resources, they haven't found any in particular.
There's a person.
So, but there's the next grant cycle coming up August 1st, and the board will have to decide exactly what to go for, because you really only get about one opportunity, one project. So we'll have to see what we want to do. So I'll learn more about that August 1st.
And that's once a year?
Pardon?
Is it once a year?
Yeah, we haven't had an OSLAD or grant cycle, I think, in the past 3 years or so. So the governor put it on hold. So the last thing also is the Park District did receive a $350,000 grant for the beach, thanks to Senator Morrison. The Parks and Beach Committee will receive options in 2 weeks. This was a specific grant for accessibility to the environment, shoreline, through the Secretary of State's office, kind of what I was talking about. And Senator Morrison will look at our capital needs at golf or other capital if there is a capital budget in 2019. So she said that, as we get our list together. So George is on that committee, Susan's on that committee, the Parks and Beach Committee, as well as Corey. And so we recently met with Bill Weaver, kind of two separate topics. Bill Weaver's with AECom looking at the erosion control. So we hope to get a report back in the next 2 months regarding erosion control. So there's a couple things going on with the beach simultaneously. We hope to come to the board maybe another 2 months regarding the accessibility project, the tableland and stairs and things like that. So look for that.
Yes. Can you elaborate on accessibility, just what that means?
Stairs with handrails, ramps, paths, anything that where people can get down to. It doesn't have to necessarily be a wheelchair, but our risers right now on the wooden stairs up at the top are all different sizes, so keeping that uniform. So accessibility for people with disabilities or that can get down to the shoreline some way. So it's not always people with in a wheelchair. I think that's always a misnomer.
Safety of stairs.
Safety, yeah.
Restroom
Right.
access, is that already?
That's already taken care of.
So changing the stairs?
Well, the wood stairs need to be up there. The
At the
upper,
very top.
the very top. As well as the gravel stairs. We're just having, we received, we'll talk about it during the ADA conversation, but we received a complaint last year regarding those stairs. So it's those types of projects.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Turn over to staff.
So we're halfway through the summer. This is our midpoint. Today we started session 3 in camp. It's still quite a bit of moving target when receiving registrations. Just alone today we received about $3,000 in registration just for this up and coming session. So I'll have a full report in August when session 5 is completed. But I'll give you just kind of an overview of where we're at compared to budget right now. Currently we're at $315,362 with session 4 and session 5 left to go. And our budgeted target number is $331,459. So we're about $15,000 away from budget. Definitely feels like we can hit that number with the session 4 and 1 week extra of camp that we put in this year. Pool and beach, halfway through the season, I'll have a little bit better number. We are running slightly behind in revenue in pool. We're running about $4,000 behind on the membership side, but we're running about $3,500 ahead on the daily side. So hopefully we can make up the difference with the membership through the dailies. Definitely had that 2 weeks of cold and rain that kind of closed the pool down. However, our movie nights have been very successful. Our first movie night, we took in $500 in daily admissions, and we took in $350 for the second movie night that we had this past Friday. We've had really good attendance, doing really well in concessions, and we're running ahead in budget and concessions as well as private lessons. We're already over our budgeted numbers. So right now things are looking good. Like I said, I'll have a final report in August regarding all of the summer programs. Any questions?
When do you plan on closing? When is the last day before? When do you-
It's Labor Day, September
So
3rd.
that's not Monday?
Yes. Any other questions?
So just hit a couple bullet points. Golf related wise, we had the golf marathon on June 26th. It was in partnership with the Lake Bluff Community Golf Association. Raised about $27,000 worth of funds through that event. 6 golfers participated. We have also begun promoting the 50th anniversary event on Friday, August 10th. Registration is open online through the Park District website. I wanted to point that out. Fitness team, Tim and myself went to the Go Lake County meeting. So this is kind of our partnership with other Go communities, Go Kearney, Go Waukegan, Go Lake Forest, all these other communities. We had the Go Community Walk in June. We had a little over 200 people participated in that first community walk. The really promising thing that we got was a lot of the other communities launched their initial walk either in May or June, and a lot of them just had somewhere between 50 and 100 participants in that initial walk. So we were very pleased that we got a couple hundred residents to come out, a lot of bigger communities with less participation. So very encouraging. There will be a larger Go Lake County walk at Independence Grove on September 29th. As I get more details, I will definitely share that with the board. And then the final thing is the new website launched about a month ago now. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback, continue to receive feedback if you hear anything. We're continuing to make some updates. There's some small little things we're still working through. And our big push now, get the brochure is off to the printer as of today. Will now be to train staff so we can keep that content online as dynamic and as possible and keep it as updated as we can. So.
Maintenance expenses, and this is for everything that includes golf parks, facilities, and pool. Right now we're $13,000 under budget, and golf on its own is $8,500 under budget. That's it.
Okay, any other information or questions at all? We'll move on then to verbal communications with the various committees. Do we want to change this order at all, or stick with it?
Just let you have a time constraint. You're okay? All right, so let's just leave it as is then.
Okay. Well, finance administration and future planning, any reports at all?
Will be no reports. We'll be working with Chair Patera on upcoming topics. So first week in August, and vacation spendings.
Park and beach, I guess we got a little insight on the coastal engineer and probably 2 months out on report.
George, anything you want to add to? No?
Let's see, then we went with, let's see, the tri-board. My gosh, we haven't met in a long time.
Not right now.
Yeah.
We have a lot of meetings though that work with school district, village, and library districts. So we have quarterly meetings with them, staff. So we continue to just talk about a variety of topics.
Okay. Then moving on to.
I do want to, I'm sorry, if I can bring up, on Wednesday, Drew, Chief Belmonte, and I are meeting with residents down at the beach regarding parking. So there's just concerns about parking in general. So we'll be meeting with maybe about 8 to 10 residents. And so I'll give the board an update once I hear a little bit more.
What does that mean?
That's Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Should be. Wednesday night.
Okay, friends of the parks, any update on that at all?
No, we kind of have a meeting in August. I think it's August, right? Yeah.
Well, then we'll move right into the facilities and programs committee.
So we, largely because of vacations, and really, I mean my vacation, we did not meet at the end of June. We're planning to meet, Ron, the last week of July, I think, for an update on golf as well as an update on fitness. I wanted some of the association folks to provide an update to the board on the 50th anniversary event. I met with Deb and John last week and received an update myself, but I think it's good for the whole board to receive that update. And you know, it's really important that we all get behind this. This is an extremely important event for all of us. So they've been doing a lot of work to amp this up and make sure this goes off as a very successful event. So any support that we can give would be fantastic. But before I do that, I want to thank Dick and the other 5 marathon golfers. You know, Ed mentioned it, but $27,000 in a day, that's fantastic. So thank you for participating, thank you for fundraising, and that goes to the other 5 folks and all the other association folks that were behind that. So that's great.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it was a pleasure. I mean, that's what I always wanted to get up every day
And play golf.
As much golf as I can and not get in trouble at home.
I went out there that day. It was a miserable day too. They were dodging rain and thunder, and still some of them got 120 something holes in that day, which is amazing. So thank you. Deb, I don't know if you or Colette, do you want to speak? So we'd love to get an update on the anniversary event and anything else you want to update us on.
Some things we've talked about in the past that we haven't finished yet, as well as some things we're working on. So thanks for the opportunity to do this. If we have committee meetings and Commissioner Mossberger can do this, great. If not, we're here to be able to provide updates if that's necessary, so we're happy to do that. The spruce up continues to go along. They'll be totally finished by the August 10th deadline for that 50th anniversary. So all that's left there is some decorating type things. There's going to be a little bit of decorative painting and hanging some different kind of visual things on the wall to make it look more up to date and fun. But by and large, that spruce up has really been positively received from people coming in, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people at the 50th anniversary who haven't seen it in a while and have the same kind of reaction. I do want to give a little bit of a social media update. So based on the input that we had before with the wording on support the Lake Bluff Golf Course, it being something we can all kind of stand behind, we did start a Facebook page just to give updates and kind of support what's going on at the golf club and in the park district, in addition to the people that are on either the park district or the Lake Bluff Golf Club itself Facebook page. So in just a matter of a month or so, that support page, that Facebook page has 336 members. Just as a comparison, the Lake Bluff Golf Club Facebook page itself, after being, I don't know how long it's been up, but it's been a while, has 470. So it's probably hitting a different group. And we're giving almost daily updates of things about 50th anniversary and what people can do to support, or some of the other events like the parent nights, the 9 and Wine, those kind of things. And people really appreciate the board meetings if people want to go. They appreciate the updates because not everybody is going through that same channel of the golf club. And then that gets also fed out to other groups like the Mothers of Lake Forest and Lake Bluff, the Lake Forest, Lake Bluff news group, and then people are sharing that on their own pages, so it kind of gets a little bit of a viral tone, and so we're happy to provide that additional supports. A little bit on the golf marathon, and you summed it up really wonderfully. There was a lot of press that day. There were 2 people in particular that came and wanted to cover the events. So, and we had subsequent front page, right, on one of them, which is very exciting for everybody. And that really was truly what I would call the first joint venture of the golf club and the park district and the friends of Lake Bluff Parks and then our group to really have something successful in a really quick turnaround time. Just to give a little bit about the totals. So from the the Friends of Lake Bluff Parks, they, as of last Tuesday, have collected about $30,000. So not all of the money from the golf marathon has come through yet. So we anticipate June in total with the golf marathon proceeds to be about $40,000, and that's not bad for 1 month of kind of turning this around. And if we were to get this $40,000 a month kind of level of giving, that would put us by the end of October at $200,000 without any pledges. So we're moving along, we're very hopeful, but we need to keep these events going. We did do the 4th of July parade. We saw some of you, many people were on vacation, but it was very exciting because we had things to hand out to promote the 50th anniversary event and how people can give, but fun little theme of Caddyshack. And many people were very excited about wanting to learn more, pulling people aside as we're walking, saying, how can I help? I didn't, some people either locally or in Libertyville or wherever didn't know about it. Some people did. So it was very good conversation and a way to put people, again, in keeping this top of mind and having discussions around it. I don't know if it was mentioned, somebody reached out to us that a family member had passed away and they wanted donation envelopes to kind of honor the memory of that family member. So instead of giving money for flowers or cash donations, they proactively asked to donate to this cause, which I thought was very thoughtful and a great way to honor somebody. So these things keep coming out of the blue, and I thought you would want to know about that. The 50th anniversary. So a big thank you to everybody involved, because this has truly been a joint venture. It's a big event, and I know Ron had mentioned when we first talked about helping with this, it's a big thing, and it takes a lot of people and a lot of moving parts. It's moving along very, very well. So we have some pretty major donations already. Sunset Foods is going to be the dinner sponsor. They're giving food and catering within our budget. Meatheads is giving lunch for the golf event. Canals is offering a 2-year lease hole-in-one from BMW, so that's very exciting. I know my particular company is giving $5,000 as well. The company I work for, the president and CEO is from Lake Bluff, very excited about helping. And there's so many raffle and auction items. You guys are gonna love it. So what we're asking from you guys is to please all support in some way. So whether that is a foursome, come as a dinner guest, get sponsorships or donations. We're also putting together as an auction item a wine starter kit. So we would ask you too, if you have a bottle of wine, it doesn't have to be, really expensive, but anything just to put in there from each one of you would make that also an amazing prize. But that's really coming together nicely. And again, there's a lot of work that's being done on our end with Ed and the golf club itself. So this thing just doesn't happen overnight. And anything you guys can do to help promote that or participate would be great. It's getting us to where we need to go. And I think that it's going to even help on the RFP side as well. So just kind of look ahead too, because we need to think beyond this 50th anniversary event too, because August is going to be here before we know it, September, etc. So we're already planning some things. There's a Chamber of Commerce luncheon that's featuring health and wellness as a topic, so we're going to be involved with that on Wednesday, September 12th. kind of backing up tomorrow, Ron and I are at the Rotary Club meeting in the morning. We're going to talk about the 50th anniversary event, so that's just another little aside. There was mention before Dominic left about an Oktoberfest or microbrew event, and so we should start talking about that now. So the sooner we can start getting those things out and about, the less chance of us having to jump through hoops like we're doing right now, but we make it work. Just a couple real quick things and then done. There have been a couple of questions out and about there that if we could ever get answers on them, but you don't know that the people are asking questions. One is about the Highland Park geo-messaging and push, so I don't know if anything was done, and that's kind of a follow-up item that I think, the golf club owes you guys as well as us. So there was supposed to be some kind of geo-targeting when people drive in the Highland Park area that something would pop up, as well as emails. So I still think we can get some of those golfers that are looking for a temporary home. And then anything, and I know the RFP process is something that needs to be done behind closed doors for many reasons. But people are looking for any kind of information, and even what you can give to the public would be appreciated, because then they start making up their own vision of whatever that is, which most of the times is wrong. So anything you can give us there to help let people know that things are going on behind the scenes and they're chugging along, that would be appreciated. I think that is it for our updates. If anybody has any questions. Lots going on.
Yeah, which is great.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks.
Any commissioner comments? Okay, well, as far as Brett's report, the only thought I have, honestly, is to help facilitate this information, the report that Colette just gave us, we moved verbal communications up in the agenda. How do people feel about actually keeping it this way? Because I think it gives the public a nice overview of, through the staff reporting of what's going on in the park district as a whole. Before we dive into all the detail with our financial reviews and things of that nature. Are people receptive to this idea? Maybe just keep verbal communications out there. I think it just helps.
At least maybe for the balance of the year, as we're kind of going through this process.
Well, I think typically, we just kind of dive into detail, and this is a nice overview. And I think for, attention span sometimes gets short, and if we can do that up front, then we get the information out of what's going on within the district itself. So, great. So maybe Ron, would you maybe keep the verbal communication up as number 2 on the agenda for at least the foreseeable future. Try that. Yeah, no, we can adjust it as we see fit with time. So we'll move on to meeting minutes, and I have a motion to approve the minutes from the June 18th regular board meeting with one modification.
Yeah, so in front of you have the change related to page 15, I think it's in front of you, where the board agreed to have Franz as the chair, the Finance Administration and Future Planning Committee, and Brock joining the Facilities and Programs Committee. So.
All right, so moved.
I got one other comment, on page 16, Commissioner. And it's from me, so some paragraph down, it says, it starts with, Commissioner Wallace talked about golf maintenance, and it says, he said the district already has a 13% deficit. That needs to read, he said the golf course already has a 13% revenue deficit to budget. So it's not the district, it's just the golf course. I just want to make that clear. This is a district deal here, we're doing fine. Revenue deficit to budget. Okay? That's it then, I'm good.
So I'll move with both of those changes.
And I'll second.
A roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera? Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. We have a motion to accept July 2nd, 3rd, and 16, 2018 payables.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Now may I have a motion to approve the July 2nd, 3rd, and 16th, 2018 payrolls?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Okay, moving on, item 5, finance. The first one is 2018 June, year-to-date financials.
Page 41 is where I'm looking at. In the future, I'll try to have our person who represents Gov, Temps USA, be able to provide a report. So probably at the August meeting, but from talking with him and Rich Rothman, our bookkeeper, we're right in line, I think, with budget, taking out taxes, things like that. So, it's going to be a tight one, I will say, just to the very end, looking at different expenses and revenues. It's just going to be shifting back and forth. So, for right now, it's too early to tell where we're going to be at. Jim's numbers are still coming in, the pool numbers, things like that. So, to really forecast where we think we're going to be is pretty difficult. What it is a little bit more challenging is that we have this early tax revenue and trying to parcel that out. And, but we try to do the best that we can and see where we're at. So in some areas, most areas we're hanging in there. So I feel pretty good about that.
Any questions, anyone?
Monthly budget was right in line.
Okay, well, could I get a motion to accept the financial report as presented by Ron Salsky?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. We'll now move on to purchase cards ratification.
2018, there were purchases of $56,993. And last year at this time, it was $66,000, so a little less. And it's due to timing of some ground supplies, but not doing some park enhancements. So that we had budgeted last year.
Any questions, anyone?
Nope.
I have a motion to ratify the purchase card payment of $56,993.02.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Okay, we're moving on to quarterly reports, Department of Facility, Communication, and Professional Services.
Yeah, so this has been kind of a standard process that we've gone through over the years since we've been doing strategic planning where we give a quarterly report. And why Jim's is not on this is because we usually wait till the end of the summer to give a quarterly report. So that's why Ed will go through and it matches up to how he has been analyzing the numbers over the last 3 years. We've been doing this almost maybe 4 or 5 years, these quarterly reports. So Ed was going to go through a brief presentation, and then we'll be able to talk about it a little bit more at the Parks and Facilities and Programs Committee, even more. But at the Facilities and Programs Committee, it's very more specific. So we'll be talking about personal training, and we'll get into action steps and what we need to do differently or what's going well. So this is just more high level for tonight.
So I just wanted to really just hit kind of basically one piece of data for each of the 4 departments that I oversee. So we'll start with the fitness center and the report that is on page 60, which is the active members by type. The information that I wanted to provide here was just simply to show you the total number of active members. It doesn't matter how long the term of the membership is, whether it's annual, quarterly, monthly, a track membership, a group fitness membership, whatever it is, they would be included. Just a couple things that, to show that I think are interesting ways that we've captured some of our strategic planning over the last couple of years is back in 2016, if I can get this to work, there we go. This is where, January of 2016 is where we started with term memberships, so the quarterly memberships, and you'll see a lot of volatility in the number of active members that we have. We get a lot of these peaks and valleys, and that continued through 2016 into 2017. I think the best way to really analyze the report is to take a 12-month moving average, and that is what this little dashed line does. So it takes the last 12 months and a moving average of the total number of active members over that time. And we've talked about this downward trend of memberships for the last handful of years. The data for this report goes back to September of 2014. So the moving average starts in September of 2015. But you can see 15, 16, 17, that downward trend continue until we got to January of 2018, which is where we revamped the membership structure, started offering that month-to-month membership. And we've really seen a nice spike in total number of active members. And a lot more of these members are either committed to us for an annual membership and or they have that month-to-month EFT membership. So you're starting to see that moving, that 12-month average moving north of 950 again. We had a couple months, 3 months in particular in 2017 where we actually bottomed out with actual numbers at just 900. And at the end of May, this would be the end of June, we had 1,069 active fitness center members, which is the highest single data point that we have in the last 5 years. So some really encouraging numbers, obviously some challenges with some other areas, fitness, and we'll talk about those at the upcoming Facility and Programs Committee meeting. But our big focus for the first year of the strategy plan was on rebuilding our membership structure and really taking this, and this is having tremendous positive financial impact on us. So we're encouraged by this. We want to continue to grow. We'll see where it goes from there.
Fantastic.
The next one is golf club memberships sold by type. The reason why I wanted to stay with the membership side is round totals it's awfully early still in the year with regards to rounds, but just to show that downward trend of golf memberships. We could say it's weather driven, but it is also, we've had a couple decent weather years in there. 2016, 2017 were fairly good weather years in the spring, and we just continue to see that downward trend of golf memberships. The difference between the green and the orange is what our resident and non-resident memberships. So you can see both pies are kind of dwindling just a little bit. Round totals are a little down this year compared to the last couple of years. That's in the quarterly report, but like I said, it's early. July, August are 2 of our 3 biggest round months. June, July, August are our 3 biggest round months. So I didn't really want to get into analyzing rounds until we got past August. So the Q3 report will go a little bit more into detail about what trends we're seeing with regards to rounds. Racket sports, participants by program type. So there is a report on page 67 of your board packet. And what you'll see is the year-to-date total so far this year. We are at 368 compared to 409 through Q2 of 2017. But what I wanted to kind of encompass here is that there was some timing of some paddle programs that we executed earlier in this last paddle season. So they fell into December of 2017 as opposed to their typical spot of January of 2018 or that shift. So what this report does is it shows you participation over the last 4 quarters. So essentially each one of these statistical areas, this is Q3 of 2015 through Q2 of 16, Q3 of 16 to Q2 of 2017, Q3 of 2017 to Q3 of 2018. So these each encompass a year, and it really does a better job of really showing that, especially our adult women's tennis program, we've had increased participation there, as well as the increased participation from the additional men's teams that we had last year. So we are moving in the right direction with regards to participation. It's just the timing of how I've historically done the report for this quarterly statistics report isn't necessarily showing that yet. But we are seeing it from a financial standpoint.
I'd like to know more about the women's tennis program. Like, where's the increase? Do you have any detail?
More just with regards to ladies lessons. A lot of our beginner ladies programs, we've executed we've had more women participating. I believe in the board report I had some stats on what our summer programming was so far this year, and there's a slight uptick in just that spring summer, but it's primarily been around that. We do have a active ladies lakeshore team, so we do have a team participating there. So that's where we've seen some growth. We really didn't have much of a program with regards to adult tennis 2 years ago, and we are slowly seeing some increases in that participation. This is true. Yeah, the new courts certainly helped us with regards to our adult participation.
How about resident versus non-resident?
I can break that down. I would, just off the top of my head, it's fairly heavy on residents. I don't believe, we had no indication that we bring in a lot of non-residents to participate. But I can provide more detail, Commissioner Patera, on our adult tennis programming and where that participation, dive in a little deeper for you.
As Bob just said, having these courts resurfaced and having a facility that we can actually build on now is really, it's a great reflection of that referendum money that we used on those courts. So
Courts were back Sunday morning at 7:30.
this is good stuff. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah.
Busy at noon.
Yes.
Before you pass
I was
up,
there.
Too hot, yeah, right. Yes.
we've done obviously a deep dive into golf, and we've done a deep dive into fitness, and I know that I haven't been handling, and I think the other board members do in those two areas right now. The July committee meeting, let's focus on golf and fitness stuff that you want to update us on that's we're not going to deal with today. But in our August meeting, I would love to do a deeper dive into the financials of racket sports. I don't feel like I have a very good handle on that. I know we looked at paddle, a year and a half ago, or whenever that was, and we looked at the fourth court, but I don't know that we've ever looked at tennis. I love the fact that participation is up, but I have no idea what that means from a financial standpoint. I mean, a lot of people can just go use the courts, and they may be busy, but that's not making us any.
All of these participations are paid
Registered
participations.
paid.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, this isn't us just standing at the courts and seeing 15 people out there and logging 15 people. These are all active participants in programs, but I'm more than happy to do that. We did tackle this about 4 or 5 years ago. We restructured with racket sports when we brought tennis into what we then was. There was a paddle sub-fund that was standalone, and we brought tennis into that and created racket sports. And we did do some restructuring with staff and some things like that to improve the financial performance, the overall to the district. And we can go through a historical of that and kind of strategies that we're employing right now to increase that.
You know, you're using the golf financial model, and then we use that same model for fitness. I would love to see that same thing for racket sports.
Okay.
I'm looking at Ron to see if that's a reasonable request. So we've got that template, if we can just get the racket information in there.
Sure.
And then talk through that, that'd be great.
More than happy
It would
to.
be nice to see the trends too, between paddle and tennis. What are the trends? Are they even just nationally or regionally? Is anyone growing their tennis program? It'd be nice to know.
I think they're going down. So, I mean, because tennis has been pretty, on the down and out for, I don't know, most recently, but it seems like it only has one place to go. After that's such successful, 7 years. So, that's quite hard to comment.
The vast majority of our revenue growth in the last handful of years has been from paddle in racket sports. If we are to combine the two and think about it from that, yes. We've had more teams, and we've added more revenue in that category. Tennis has grown, but it hasn't grown at the rate that paddle has.
Yeah, I was mentioning to Ron that in the Lake Forest Park District brochure, they don't advertise paddle. And, they're really close by. We could potentially market to this group in terms of a park district. We're close. We've got facilities. We already have members that are from Lake Forest. I wonder if there's anything that we could ever do to try to advertise, as their supplier for paddle.
But definitely talk to Sally, their executive director of their Parks and Rec, and talk with her about opportunities. We've done some shared spaces in each other's program guides, so there's definitely an opportunity.
And the flip, to that would be they have racquetball and squash
Right.
that a number of our residents might not even know they offer.
Right.
So it's something we talked about at the task force.
Yeah, right.
A couple years back.
And did an exchange.
Yeah.
So just then the last component, because we've had a lot of conversations here in the last couple months about email communication. So this is an overview of Park District email communications dating back to 2013, which is when the Park District got on board with Constant Contact, started using them as their email service provider. And then we had the reorganization of the communications department, moved into my realm in 2017. So a couple of the things that we did, and I just wanted to point those things out. 2017, we didn't have an increase in manpower and resources. So the idea was that we would get, that we tried to get a little bit more out of our campaign. So there isn't a significant growth in the number of campaigns here in 2017 compared to previous years. But where we did, we did a lot better job, I felt, of targeting individuals and getting the right content to the right people. So in 2017, we saw that growth of unique opens of our emails climb above 15,000 out of the same number of campaigns. And just to give perspective, because I see it's getting cut off, it's about 23 campaigns here, and then this number here in 2018 is 45 campaigns. In 2018, obviously, we had a procedural change where we were incorporating some golf email messaging and things like that. And we talked a little bit more about how we could produce more. So not only deliver more content that would wanted to be consumed by the person receiving it, but also how do we get more content actually out there. So we've increased the number of campaigns, but we've also exponentially increased the number of unique opens. So we have got over 35,000 unique opens of our email here in the first 2 quarters alone, with over 2,000, it's about 2,200 unique click-throughs on our email. So a lot of really good procedural things, working really hard with Jeff, and even along the lines of with the new website and integrating that more into our email communication, especially here in Q3 and Q4. But we definitely feel like we've taken a step in the right direction in the last couple of years with this, and we feel like the metrics show that.
That's huge. It's a significant, it's a lot of work, but that's great. That's really great. Getting the message out on a lot of different fronts.
That is all. I'm happy to answer any questions on any specific reports that were in there, but I didn't want to go report by report. I just wanted to hit what I felt were the key reports that were provided in this quarter's report.
Excellent information. Great trends that we're seeing here, and having the ability to really track it. You're doing a great job here with this, so thank you. It's not just feel anymore, we actually have data to base our feelings on, so that's great. Okay, any questions? Any more questions on that?
I liked your report format. I would like
Okay, well, thank you, Ed. We'll move on to some old business now. 2015 through 19 strategic plan, section 4 update.
So I thought it was important with Commissioners Mosbarger and Patera, what has it been, a year now, a year and a half, to kind of go through the process just briefly on the strategic plan. I think it's been a while since I really did the board, I think almost a few months, but I thought I would start with in 2015. Well, before that, 2011, we had a strategic plan. We spent 4 years on that and developed all our pillars and goals and things like that. And then when we got to 2015, we pared down our goals and objectives because it was pretty difficult for a small agency like ours to be able to hit all the goals and objectives. So we're at 13 strategic goals and 41 strategic objectives. And how we break it out is on our progress is high priority, not started, deferred, on target, off target, waiting on someone critical and achieved. And we've talked about this a little bit, but I thought we've been going through so much, we've been doing a lot. It's good to get back to our strategic plan and see where we're at and our progress on all those goals and objectives. And so, I'm pleased to see where we have a lot achieved. We have many that are on target, and so I think there aren't really any surprises in here. I think there's some opportunities in the future, as we talk about branding and marketing and things like that to look at. But I'm pleased that I would say almost 90% of our strategic plan is on target or achieved. So it's a lot of work, it's a lot of information. We only review this quarterly, so this is something where we brought back in 2015, where we had a lot of conversations about the services, the programs, the facilities, and we spent almost 2.5 days reviewing this. And I think we should be very proud that we're getting to the point of that we're going to need a new strategic plan in 2019, and I think there's an opportunity to really get the community involved, and we'll be looking at a lot of new things. So I thought I tried to add some comments to some of them. There are some things that are still just, we're not going to be able to get to, just whether it's staffing purposes or we're just waiting on things. And, so some of those, such as some things related to board and staff talent and succession plans and things like that. So those have just somewhat been pushed off. But I'm very excited about where we're heading with our strategic plan. And I think sometimes we just don't look at it all the time, but when we're moving forward in our committees and in our board meetings, as you see on top of every agenda, I try to tie in the core area, the goal and objective. And that's due to the board and the staff working together on what do we want to achieve in the next 4 years. So it's more of a quarterly update here. I'm glad to answer any questions.
How are these prioritized? I mean, I see some are off target, some are not addressed. Are those critical things that we're not addressing or that are off target, or were those kind of nice to have items that we don't feel too badly that they are off target or not addressed?
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a very good question. So back in 2015, it was an opportunity when the board really discussed major key areas. That's where we prioritized that, whether it was the paddle tennis in the fourth court, the golf course, some things with the village, the programming. We just knew from those discussions, we just prioritized. Staff took the comments back from the board meeting, from that initial board meeting, and then started to whittle away at the various items. So I don't think there's an exact science to it. I think in the future it would be good to be able to
That might be, but we did not in the 15 planning session say these are tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3.
You needed a 16.
So, what's that?
You needed a 16
Yeah.
planning session.
Yeah,
So the items on here are not prioritized.
And that may be a way in the future that we say these are tier 1 critical
That's a good idea.
to
Yeah.
achieve, and these are maybe nice to have.
Yeah.
Might be a better way to do it,
Yeah.
but we just, we put too many
Well,
down, frankly, in retrospect.
That's okay.
That's a good.
I think it provides a great launching point, though, for the next strategic planning sessions next year. So, yeah, so this is a good piece to have.
And it's great. I like what you said. I like the tier. I haven't heard that before, so I like that. Not too many districts approach it that way, but I think that would help staff because sometimes we don't know which project to take on. We did it based on the conversation. So
Okay.
I like that idea. It's a good idea.
Great, thank you for the background.
Yeah, and I think what I want to add is why we budget for some projects such as cost of services or things like that is based on the strategic plan. So I think what's important in the next strategic plan is if we make a commitment in our strategic plan, that we make that commitment in the budget. So, which we have, the board's done, so when we come to you with various projects, then we come to the budget meeting with it and try to tie it into the strategic plan, so.
And what's nice is we keep coming back to the strategic plan to really structure our path. I've been on boards where we do a strategic plan and then put on a shelf and flex dust. And so you made it really a living document, which has really helped navigate this board. So, but I know it's a lot of detail there, but I'm just remembering some of the retreats that we did, and we had these sessions brainstorming this stuff out, and it was really valuable time.
I think the 019 strategic plan would be an opportunity to look at our mission statement. It's been a while, so be able to take a look at the core areas. Those might change. So I think it would be a pretty lengthy process. So we'll have to talk about that in the budget process, whether that's an 020 project or 019 and what's involved with that.
Okay. Any other questions here? Well, there's anything to vote on with this one? It's just more of an update. So,
Just an update.
okay, we'll move on to the next item here, which is similar in nature as far as giving a little more background on the ADA district-wide improvements.
Yeah, so I don't want to read every paragraph there. I think just to give a perspective that in 2011, we retained John McGovern from Recreation Accessibility Consultants because we needed to complete an ADA access audit and a transition plan. So we were supposed to do that back in the heyday. So as I did an audit of the Park District when I started, that was one of the things on the list that the district didn't complete. So this goes back to almost 2011.
But this was by law we had to have this.
That is correct.
It
By
wasn't
law.
just our own initiative. It was state and federal guidelines that we had to conform to. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's exactly right. And why we were able to bring the cost down at that point in time is we had Rob Foster help with the project. So where he was doing measuring and out on the field, and so that probably saved us about $10,000 worth of taxpayer dollars to get this project moving forward. And they were very amenable to that process. That was kind of a new process as long as we had staff involved. We really have focused on accessible routes, signage, bathrooms, doorways, handrails, and that was what they focused on. So then I just tied in quickly that the Park District, I think there was a question last month about NSSRA, so I thought I included some background information into this. So we, in our special recreation fund, all the Park Districts have special recreation funds, so we levy $237,000, about 4 cents. It's a maximum we can go. And these are related to the NSSRA contribution and inclusion, basically our membership in it, NSSRA. It's a small cost compared to if we were to do it on our own. We'd have to have significant expertise and staffing to be able to offer programs with people with disabilities. So we're mandated to do quite a bit here, as well as equipment and capital projects. And so what happened in 2011 after we received a report, we looked at, and then I even show in here that 2012-13 we had some tax objections. So what tends to happen is sometimes park districts can carry too much in their special recreation fund and they're not using it when their transition plan says to use it. So after 2011 we prioritized and said which ones do we need to do. So we came to the board and said which projects do we need to embark on. And I tried to just put some estimates here, worked with Rob on all the types of things we've done. So we've done things from sidewalks to ramps to playgrounds to bathrooms, the mat, stairs, signage, restroom fixtures, porta-johns. These are all types of things that are accessible routes. They seem to be mostly about accessible routes. And when we spent, since 2014, about a little over $500,000 on what we were required to do. We have received 4 complaints, and we talked about this, so throughout the Park District. And that complaint could be, sends an email that says, I can't access this, or I can't get to this. And then I talk with recreation accessibility consultants, and they say, you need to find a way. They have made a complaint, and you need to figure this out sooner than later, and you have a couple years to do that and work through that. So, for example, the rec center, we had the demographics of our fitness center. We have sometimes older population, people with disabilities, and having a hard time walking. Well, the curb cut the way it was, they had to walk over a curb, and so they're getting out of the car, and they have a walker, and they couldn't do that. So we had to do curb cuts so that it was almost a ramp type. Well, those are the types, and then they will say, when are you getting this done? They're sending monthly emails. When are you doing this? When are you doing this? We've had recent complaint down at the beach. Playgrounds, Jim had one when we built the playgrounds. So there's a variety of, we do get complaints. I didn't bring that up at the last, but we do get complaints from people say, I can't access this. What are you going to do about it? So it happens. And so I wanted to really just show you, at least get to this point of since 2014, what we've done. And there's obviously more that needs to get done, which is why we wanted to, what we wanted to talk about here. And not looking to solve anything today, but to be able to say, hey, these are some outstanding items. So I tried to break that out on page 76, and these were based off of 2011 numbers. So these are, we took out all the things that we've done already from this. So you're at 1.2 million. Now that doesn't mean we have to really do all these. There's some things in the golf club, not the clubhouse, but the maintenance areas, where maybe we don't have to do quite yet. But at some point in time, we're going to have to do these things. And so you can just, you know, we just try to peel them off as much as we have. Right now, we're in a negative fund balance because we did a lot of projects with the playgrounds, the pool, and the beach. So it's going to be a while before we kind of get back into a surplus where we can start using it on some of these projects.
Ron, how many years? So we're levying 237,000, but a portion of that goes out to NSSRA and maybe some other things beyond our control. How much of the 237,000 sticks in the special rec fund to cover the 236,000 that went?
Yeah, it's probably, I'm going to estimate
half of it.
I was going to say about 100,000 that we have available for projects, equipment, things like that.
So we have a 2.5-year negative.
Correct.
If we don't spend a dime over the 2
That is
years.
correct.
Okay.
And then we got a whole project list.
Correct.
Just, I mean, the golf club, obviously, the 800,000.
Yeah.
I know that's a placeholder, and we've got a whole lot of discussions going on. I'm just curious on the paddle tennis, 150,000. What is that for?
Yeah, so the ramp is fun. It's a slight elevation. So we're talking, it's accessible so that you have a chance to go up, but when we built up higher, that changed the ramp height. So that's an estimate that we received, and it's not all 150,000. There's the doorways, there's a couple things related to that. There was one complaint with paddle tennis that we received in 2014 from a person in a wheelchair that wanted to get on the courts. We needed to apply. So I think there's other solutions to that ramp, but that's a placeholder too.
Okay, not to get too nitpicky in here, but the golf maintenance building jumped out to me. Why would we have to make a maintenance building ADA compliant?
Some things are bathroom signage,
Yeah, doorways.
doorways.
Employee had, right.
Yeah, so if there's an employee with a disability or a vendor that comes in right now, he has a huge step that goes up into his office. That's really high, so those are small things.
And these are not prioritized, this is just a comprehensive list of what's there.
That's a comprehensive list, so our next meeting or two is an opportunity to be able to, whether we go, that would be an administration and finance committee to start prioritizing,
Okay,
so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's helpful.
And when you say a complaint, is that kind of done in context of a legal kind of?
It could be a form in an email or a phone call, and we've been trained that we have to take that very seriously and go through a series of steps to mitigate, look at, call our consultant, call our architect, say, is this really a necessary change? Do we have to do this? So, for example, the beach stairs, there's some things that we're in questions with our consultant on, do we need handrails or not? And so we're in debate on that, but then they'll say, absolutely yes. So, so 4 is quite a bit, and since 014. Some of my colleagues haven't received that.
Interesting. I don't know if I would have thought that was a lot or not, especially over, what, 4 calendar years roughly?
Well, I think it just shows that people love our park system and enjoy our facilities, and I think that's a compliment to all the services that we have.
Yeah.
So
It's being used.
it's being used.
Right. Okay. Any other questions at all on this? If not, we'll move on to written communication.
Well, the only thing is, I think you had 2 articles. One was regarding the golf marathon, what was published, so we'll make sure we get that on the record. And so we look for those types of articles. It was a great article, it was well done. And that's it.
Nice follow through.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my form was that good.
Okay, well then we'll move on to executive session. Would someone like to walk us into that, please?
Brock's over.
I move that we go into executive session for the purposes of discussion of the meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purposes of approval by the district of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06.5 ILCS 120/2C21. And for the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by a public body pursuant to section 2C6 of the Open Meetings Act.
Second?
And roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart? Yes. Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Jones?
Yes. Okay.
Staff will be able to enjoy this movie.
You want to keep that one? I just got some.
We're back on?
Hold on, it says change battery packing.
Okay, we are now out of executive session. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.